Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Here we go with another edition of Outspoken Men's Edition. What do you think? Where are we going today?
So I really want to talk about men and some of the triggers that they have or some of the things that they're dealing with. I mean, we talked about this in the past, but we seem to. I just want to reiterate some of the things that happen and how people might miss the cues and not really catch what a man is saying and miss the opportunity to listen and really
All right,
help.
let's do it.
Let's jump. Let's do it.
So what can I do for you today? You say you don't want to hurt yourself, right? No. Have you ever attempted suicide or anything like that in the past? Okay. Is there anything I can do to help you?
I could use a hug.
I'll give you a hug. Seems like you got a lot going on, man. It's all right. It's all right, man. It seems like a lot to take on, you know?
Good, we can get you some help.
Yeah, we can get you somebody to talk to and stuff. It's all right, man. It's all right.
And if you need to talk, if you can't talk to them,
You can call us. Call that number, dude. I'll come out and meet you. All right, brother.
each day act like it's appreciated.
Hey, if you ever need anything, you just call, right?
Means a lot.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you.
I'm Jake, by the way. That's Fred.
All right, Jake, Fred, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
For real. I
Yeah.
do feel a lot better.
Good.
What's going on, boss? What's going on?
I'm on the phone with the VA hotline
Okay.
for suicide.
All right. Hey, I got you, man. All right. What branch you in?
Army.
Army. All right. Hey, my name's Kyle. All right. We'll help you out. All right, bud. I'm here with you. I'm here with you. All right. I'm gonna start an ambulance over here to us. Okay. All right, bud.
I can afford.
Starting an ambulance to 6-8 off ramp eastbound. I'm with a vet who's on the suicide hotline.
Here's
Hey.
my ID.
Sorry, man. Hey. You have anything on you?
No.
Okay. Is it all right if I check you? Cool. Any deployments, bud?
What?
One? Well, hey, dude, it's a tough time for everyone in your position, all right? Relax, though. Hey, I'm here with you, okay? I'm here.
Have a hug.
Yeah.
So being a man, there's a lot of things that happen, right? We're never the type that if our significant other comes with a problem, right? If your girlfriend or your wife or whatever, or my girlfriend, my wife come to me and it's like, hey, I got this going on. We don't ever go like, oh man, I don't know how we're gonna do it. That seems like a big problem. God, oh my God, we really no, we don't do that. That's just something we don't do. We saw our fathers not do it, our grandparents not do it, or brothers not do it, or uncles, everybody not do that. So we follow that same path, right? Someone brings a problem to us. What's the first thing we want to do? Solve it. We want to
Solve
fix
it,
it, even
yeah.
though we can't at the moment. We're
Yep.
like, you know what? Don't worry about
Guys
it.
are fixers.
Yeah, but what happens? We say, hey, you know what? Don't worry about it. We'll figure something out. Boom. Right? The guy's in the bathroom stressing out, or at work stressing out. But the point is, as a man, that's our job. That's our job for us to carry that burden of trying to push our family ahead, and just don't allow things to happen.
Right.
Being a man is very difficult. It's very stressful. There's a lot of anxiety associated with it. But there's also times that man involuntarily starts speaking about what's going on. And if a woman fails to catch that moment or shuts a man down, guaranteed that man will never ever talk to you again about what he's feeling. Ever. He's not going to do it. He's like, well, you know what? That was my chance. She didn't care. Doesn't matter. I'll keep it like I always have. So those are the kind of things I want to talk to about today. Is that you saw our commercial? It's kind of like, you get pushed to that point, and then bad things start to happen.
Right.
Right? Everyone's human. Whether you're a first responder, you're a politician, you're a blue collar worker, whatever the case is, even if you work at McDonald's, you're still dealing with
Right.
something as a man, right? And it'll always be the same thing. So
Yeah,
I think it's important that
absolutely.
we talk about those things.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, you were talking about like stressors and things that guys have, and there's a lot of signs, right? And medical associations will say there's different signs, warning signs for self-eradication, right? And also those signs coincide with a lot of just generalized stressors for depression and things like that. And these are really, really, really big in the men's side of things. Not that women can't have it, you know, but these are really a lot bigger for men when you notice these extreme changes in things. The start or increased use of drugs or alcohol, frequent talking of death, things like that. I mean, that's becomes a very obvious one, right?
Right.
Heavy mood swings. Now we might say, oh, well, this person's moody or whatever. There's a difference between, you know, having small mood swings and things, but when you see somebody has completely changed and their demeanor is way different than you're used to, and if that's one time because they had a really bad day, that's a whole different thing. But if you notice that as a trend, that's something to really, you know, be concerned about. Reckless behavior and activities. Now, you got people that go out and skydive for a Red Bull and do all kinds of crazy things, you know, and that would be considered reckless activities. But if you have somebody that was pretty normal and all of a sudden they say, yeah, I'm going to go cliff diving and I'm going to start doing all this crazy stuff. Well, you might, again, if there's multiple of these signs, these are things that can add up. Obviously, like anxiety, types of aggression, you know, those things. Here's a big one: giving away possessions.
Oh yeah.
So all of a sudden, hey, you want this? I don't need it anymore. I got a bunch of stuff here. I'll just give it to you. I don't really need this stuff anymore. That's a big sign. A lot of people that unfortunately have self-eradicated, they end up giving a lot of stuff away to their friends and family and just people in general, because they're like, well, you know, I'm not going to need it anymore. And so these are all these little signs, you know, if you're a friend and maybe you don't talk to this person very often, but you see them starting to withdraw and they don't want to talk anymore and all those kind of things. That's a big one. And then, you know, people that are seeking revenge or have heavy rage all of a sudden, that, you know, these are really big things. These are big stressors for, you know, guys that are going through stuff. And, you know, what causes these stressors? There's all kinds of different things. Financial problems is probably one of the biggest ones, you know, job loss, employment issues, you know, hours cut at work, you're not making as much money, costs more to right now. What is it? Costs more to live, you know, you making good money. You're still making the same money you were last year, but you're spending, you know, quite a bit more on groceries and gas and everything else. And so, you know, these are these stressors that come along. Legal problems. Maybe you've, you know, had some legal issues or medical bills, medical problems, things like that. And maybe part of that is not having that access, right? So maybe you need medical attention. And I'm not even talking about mental stuff. I'm just talking about things in general. You have, you know, back issues and stuff like that, and you can't afford to go to a doctor. I mean, all of this stuff, you know, creates anxieties and things like that. And then you get into the big stuff like interpersonal, you know, losses and issues where, you know, divorce, somebody passed away in your family, end of a relationship, you know, you don't even have to be married. It could be two significant others. And, you know, as a guy, you lose. The thing is that a lot of folks will say, well, guys they don't have feelings, you know, and they don't care about women and stuff like that. Man, men take breakups really bad, right? Because the thing is that this is not a sexist thing. We are supposed to be in charge of a relationship, right?
We have
And
roles. People have roles.
and when the relationship fails, the guy really puts it on himself that he failed, right?
Right.
As an individual. Usually for the female, all of her friends come around. Oh, you go queen, go out there and find another guy. You know, he wasn't worth it, kind of thing.
They have a strong friend support group.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
large.
And so, you know, there's a big difference in that whole deal. So really, you know, look at your friends or family or what have you, and especially people that are going through a tough time, you know, job loss, relationship loss of somebody physically, like, you know, through death or um, family members that have, you know, diseases and things like that. Or, I mean, I know, you know, I lost my dad years ago of Alzheimer's. I mean,
Oh.
those are long-term stressors for people, and it does affect you, you know, because it's not just the actual physical loss and things like that, but it's all the time that things like that drag on, and you know, it can get to you pretty good. So as you know, as a guy, I guess I can identify as a guy, right? Is that still
Somewhat.
is that still allowed?
Very,
Or do you have
very, very. You're one.
vague?
Yeah,
Very vague.
thin.
Thin line on that one. I didn't know if you have to like put a hyphen and all kinds of other stuff in there to identify. So, you know, we are just part of the human race, just like females are, and we walk along on the same ground, and the same wind blows on us, and we have the same issues and all those kind of things. But the way we are hardwired is to deal with things completely differently, right? And we've talked about this on our other episodes, and even our non men's edition episodes. We've talked about that guys will tend to bottle up stuff, you know, to not add that stress to the other party, and which would be our female companion. You know, we don't want them to stress, and we try to take on that stress from them and make it easier for them. Just like you said earlier, you know, if they bring an issue, what's the first thing we want to do? Fix it, right? If she says, "Oh man, the sink plugged up," we don't realize that sometimes she just wants us to go, "Oh, I'm sorry, honey. Sorry that the sink plugged up." What's our first reaction? All right, well, I'll see what's going on, and I'll run down to Home Depot and get the parts, or
And we
whatever I
have
need to
no
do.
clue how to fix them, but we figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. If if it's a car, we'll find a Chilton's book. If it's now it's called YouTube, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, the kids nowadays.
I was friends with those auto books at auto stores. I forgot what the names were.
Those are
Harry's, or I don't know what the hell they were called.
It was Chilton. The
Chilton, that's what it
books.
was.
Yeah.
I was. I remember when I first started dating my baby mama. Like, I had to portray myself as being very handyman. I had to change her brakes. I'm like, I got this, and I spent like more than I wanted to on just stuff I didn't need because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
To change brake pads, you know. So, but you know, I learned, and after time, it was like second nature. I'm like, this is easy. You know what I mean? So there is a lot of stress. There's a lot of stress that we put on ourselves. But there's a lot of stress that, you know, and women could look at it in two different ways. Like, oh, you guys just put that on yourself. Do we? Or is it something that you just don't want to deal with? You know, women don't want to deal with the pettiness of things, and they push it on us, right? And we're gladly take it because that's what we do. And they just think it's like, wow, that's his role. That's his job. You know, okay, it is. But there has to be a little give and take. You know, you want that? Great. Back up a little bit, give us some slack, and we'll do it when we do it. You know, that's why a lot of people say, like, well, he's been working on that project forever. Yeah, how about the other 150 projects that he's got going on that you don't know about, that he has to deal with, you know, that you've already thrown on his plate, that is not nothing physical, but it has to deal with him trying to figure out bills or how to move around money or whatever the case is, you know, because he's doing this stuff. And it's like, you don't spend no time with us, right? So I still got to spend time with this, do this and whatnot, and it becomes an issue. And so those are some of the things that people really don't think about because it's been trained in their minds not to. Like it's like that's a man's role. That's a man's role. That's a man's role. You know what I mean? And it's on us. So I think it's important that people understand that. So I don't know if you ever heard of a Nora Vincent. So Nora Vincent was a radical feminist, and she was the author of a book called Self-Made Man. So she went and lived as a man for 2 years.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I did hear about this. Yep.
And because she said, I'm going to go prove how easy it is to live as a man, and these guys have it easy, and blah, blah, blah. In those 2 years, she she lost so much weight, she got sick, and on top of that, she got mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly thereafter, self-eradicated herself.
All right. She was like 54 when she
was telling people like, men have it hard. Like I came in thinking they have it easy. I was so wrong. She was talking about we have no clue what men have to deal with day in and day out. And it led for her to her depression and then her self-eradication. Like, how sad is that? Like, here you are, this radical feminist going to go prove that men have it easy, only to find out that they do not. And on top of that, you get sick, you get stressed, you get depressed, and then you self-eradicate yourself. So that's sad. I mean, it really is, because now you think about it as like, put it into perspective. Men go through that every day. That's our life. It's not 2 years that we deal with it. It's the entirety of our life. And so we are built a little different, but man, give us a little slack, right?
Yeah, and she only did it for 18 months, so it wasn't like it was this, like 10-year conquest thing. Now, 18 months is a long time to change your identity and everything. And just so everybody knows, she wasn't like transgender or anything like that. So that's not what it was. She was kind of playing dress up,
Yeah.
She was an actual female, identified as a female, but she was trying to live a life as a man to see how it would work out for her. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And to think about her, assuming that everything was going to be really easy and that she was just going to put on a pair of pants and walk around and get paid more and and have an easy time in life. That's not always the case, like you said earlier, we have a bunch of things that we have to worry about all the time. So as women will say, well, you guys don't have to worry, like if you're at a club or something, guys hitting on you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I agree. All right. Unless it's some gay guy and he's very forward. And I know Joe has that happen all the time to him.
Every day.
Every day. As ladies, you probably have a lot of guys hitting on you. Now,
every day.
Every day. As a guy, it's kind of the opposite. You got to worry about a guy hitting you, right?
Because hitting you or hitting on you?
Hitting, like smacking you.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, yeah, because, places like bars and things like that, it is so guys are always in competition. Okay. There's always a competition. So I'll give you ladies a little secret tip thing. If you want to hook a guy or keep a guy, especially, don't be in competition with him. Okay. Don't start saying that you have, like I've seen on social media, it's like girl will be in the passenger seat. You can tell it's all set up and everything, but she'll say, "Oh, look over there, that car. It looks just like yours." And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, he's got the same car as me." She goes, "That car looks way better than yours," right? And you're laughing because you know where I'm going. Instantly, that is a guy's. So, sports teams, Joe, right? We start talking about sports teams. What happens if you start talking about a team that you don't like? It's like, oh, those are that's a garbage team. I hate those guys. Those guys are stupid. Whatever.
Every team in the NFL but the Dallas Cowboys.
There you go. So, see? And so guys that's why men primarily watch sports, and that's and it's not that females don't, but because of our competitiveness, and we're always in competition with another guy. Always. Look out in the animal kingdom, right? All the birds and all the animals, they have to compete as the males, as the stronger male and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing. And so do the lionesses do they fight very often amongst each other? Not really.
No.
They actually support one another. They protect all the pride, the children, right? What do the male lions do?
Just kick back, bro.
They but they do kick
Reproduce.
back once, but they have to kick the crap out of the other male lion,
Right.
right?
Take over the pride.
That's trying to take over the pride.
Well,
And if one of their lionesses gets pregnant by another one, what do? They'll actually kill the kid, right? They'll kill the little
not
pup.
part of his pride.
So it's not part of his pride. So you think about that. This is stuff that's kind of hard, and so then this is what gets into that's toxic masculinity and all
There's
that
no
kind of
such
stuff.
thing.
There's no such thing. There's toxicness within all kinds of people. Doesn't matter what
toxicity
sex
is across the spectrum. There's no like masculine toxicity. There feminine.
not specifically. You can be
No.
masculine and be toxic, and you can be feminine and be toxic, but there's not like something specific to only.
Or you could be transgender and very toxic. but you're absolutely right. And the thing is that and this is what people have to understand, especially women. We are not equal. We're not equal in a relationship. It's not equal. Never will be equal. Stop thinking that. It's a fantasy. It's something that the generations of today have put in your head, that 50-50. No, that doesn't work that way. If you want 50-50, then go out there and hustle like men do all the time. Deal with the problems that men have to deal with. It's not 50-50. Let it go. And it's not about equality in a marriage or in a relationship. It's about positions. It's about your role in a relationship, and that's as simple as that. Like you said, in fear of sounding like a chauvinistic pig, the reality of things is that you have to understand that everyone has a role. So when you go to a business that's successful, the reason it's successful is because everyone has a role to play in that company. Right?
That's right.
There's positions. There's this person does this other person does this. You're in charge of that. And the wheels move ever so smoothly when you have people in the right positions and doing their job in that position. Right? As soon as you throw that monkey wrench in there, you're going to cause this wheel to start kind of wobbling and eventually come off its axis. Right? And it's just going to go down memory lane. Same thing in a relationship and a marriage. Everyone has their roles. The man is the head of the household, any way you look at it. If you want to be one of them feminists of today and say, oh, we're both equal. No, we're not equal. You cannot do. You cannot do the. Go ahead.
Yeah, a guy can't have a baby. We're not equal.
No, and a guy does not wear his emotions on his shoulder. Unfortunately, where women do. Men for the most part have one best friend, and that's about it. They don't have a entourage of women or men that they could go to and give their problems to and get encouraged by, and they don't have that. Women have that ability, and they take advantage of that. They have that circle of girlfriends that encourages them, that helps them, that pushes them. Men don't have that. Men are very personal. Men don't like to share about their stuff that's going on at home because it's no one's business. They have a lot, it's just the way it is. We've been raised that way. And so it's not equal, never will be equal. So women have to get that out of their head to begin with. It's this equality that they're trying to find and put and instill in these relationships that cause tremendous stress, right? Because if that's the case, you want to be equal, then figure out the bills. Figure out how you're going to pay it. Don't just go out there and spend. Well, it's my money too. Well, okay. So are the bills. Those are your bills too, but that's the role we play. We're the head of the household. We are in charge of this family. We've been charged with protecting
Good or
it.
bad.
We've been charged with pushing it forward and making it successful. As a woman, you play a very important role. You're the support of this team. You are,
Yeah.
I don't want to say cheerleader because that minimizes what your role is. You're not a cheerleader. You're like almost the director per se. That you're directing the movement of this band. And how do you direct it? By emotionally being there all the time, by letting them know that you care, that you worry about them, that hey, if you need something, I'm here. Or hey, you know what? Take it easy today. Don't leave the yard. We'll do it next week. Sit down, relax. Tell them what they mean to you. Tell them how important they are in your lives. Make them know that what they're doing is for a reason and the purpose. And that purpose is you and their kids, and show that to them. You know what I mean? A man, when he comes home, he could have the worst day of his life. He could be stressed. But when he comes home and he finds peace at home, man, that man will lay his life
Number one.
on tracks for you. That's all he wants is peace, and with that peace, he could take on the world. Even if he can't,
That's right.
in his head, he could take it on. And that's
right.
the step one of preparing yourself to do so. And it's important. But ladies, the feminists of today are just driving me crazy. I'm telling you. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, like you said, I think peace is a big one for guys. They don't want to be in competition with their other half. And that it's this thing that's always been said. Oh, this is Joe's better half, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so that's basically psychologically saying, well, you're the lesser half, right? And this is this feminist ideology that kind of created that whole thing. You're saying you want equality, but you're going to start saying that you're the better half and he's the lesser half, because that's really what it means, right? Happy wife, happy life.
Mm-mm.
Doesn't matter if the guy's happy, just matters that she's happy.
Yeah.
And part of that for most guys, you know why most guys pitch into that and say that? Well, as long as she's happy, because the second she's mad, she makes my life miserable, right?
And just want peace.
And we just want peace. We don't want to be yelled at for this or that, or
nagged,
or anything else. Yeah. So the number one thing I could tell for most of the ladies out there is don't be in competition. Your guy's secretly in competition with every guy that he meets. Every guy. So tell me if this is true or not, Joe. You're sitting at a bar. You're all by yourself. Now there's something to watch out for. If your guy's going and drinking all by himself all the time, there's a sign. Here's your sign. So he's sitting at a bar.
I like to go drink by myself sometimes and smoke a cigar. What the hell?
Oh, well, yeah. So he's sitting there by himself. Okay, so I don't know when the last time you did it. You're sitting there all by yourself and you're having a beer, and it's a draft. And the guy next to you, they pour at the same time. And all of a sudden you look over and he's almost halfway down with his, and you're not even a quarter way down with yours. What's a little feeling you have inside?
Oh, that there is purpose behind his drinking.
And to probably get to where he's at or pass him up, because we have this stupid competitive. And I know women listening to this are probably like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's because here's the thing. Two women sitting at a bar drinking, they're just going to drink. Hey, do you want to get another one? You want to get another one? Two guys drinking at a bar. What's one of the first things we're going to say to each other? Are you milking that thing? What are you waiting for?
Or do you need a straw?
You need a straw? You need a sippy cup for that thing, man?
Hey, Twinkle Toes, you want some help with that beer?
Yeah. So, and this is this. As much as that seems like a nothingness statement, that really affects guys. It does, because we have, again, this whole competitive thing. And unless a guy understands that about himself and about how we are psychologically, that can be something that affects a lot of guys. And you'll see them do. I'm sure you've seen guys do dumb things, or say dumb things just to.
And I don't want to say that competitive. I think it's more men have a lot of pride. Men are very prideful,
Yeah.
even though in our belief it's sinful to be prideful. Men just have this pride that, like, who's that guy that did it? I could do it better. I
Right.
could do just as good or better than him. We have this sense of pride that, or it's even like to the point where like, if we get into our, and that's a problem. We get into our own heads and think like, that's the kind of man my wife probably deserves, that does these things and he does good. And, I have to pay for it. This guy just goes and puts a cabinet together and mocks it up. I have to pay for it because I don't know how to do that. And, we get into our own heads and start like just beating ourselves down, and not really realizing like, yes, that guy, that's his job, or maybe he's a handyman. That's what he does. He's a framer, or he does whatever. He does good work, but you're talented in other ways. You know what I mean? You do
that's
things
right,
in
yeah.
other stuff that you're talented that he can do. It happens to be something that, like, if you're working, you need a remodel in your kitchen. This guy happens to be doing his own remodel in his house. So what? That's what he does for a living. We do other things for a living, and that doesn't mean that we'll go in there. It ain't going to be the prettiest thing ever, right? But we'll
Right.
figure it out. And I think that's
You
that
need some
pride.
underwater. You need some underwater basket weaving done,
There you go.
man.
But right? But see, that's the pride in us that doesn't allow us to like think rationally. Like, hey, bro,
Yeah.
come on. You're not a carpenter. Let's stop trying to,
Yeah.
I could put two sticks together and a screw and we're good, but I'm not going to make a masterpiece out of it. Right. And,
Right.
just, you're good at other things. But I'm sure you could change the oil. I'm sure you could change the brake pads. I'm sure you could do all kinds of other things. Doesn't make you any less, but because we get into our own heads, we think we devalue ourselves, and that's where those problems come in. We're like, I can't put, I can't build a house, so I'm stupid. Like, bro, come on. It takes a group of people to build a house. So it's not like we just get into our own heads. We're full of pride. And I think how our family sees us is key. And so when we feel like our family looks down on us, it just brings us down even more.
Does. That breaks us.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we don't feel like, and it's not so much support, but having confidence in a guy is supporting him.
Yes.
Right. So you have confidence that your guy can do this or that. That is totally supporting him. It's a really simple thing. And all you have to do is, again, kind of like a broken record, is just be supportive and bring him peace. Don't be argumentative all the time, because that breaks guys down too. Because again, they want to fix it. So if you start arguing, what's the first thing a guy has in his head? He wants to fix it. And if he can't fix it, and you argue tomorrow and he can't fix it, the next day you can't fix it. The next day you can't fix it. So this goes, what I say with like ladies, kind of a similar thing is like, if you go to work every day and there's, the three girls that always are, all the guys are talking to him and all that kind of stuff. And they've got all this plastic on them and everything. How's that make you feel? You start feeling, maybe jealousy is a word for it, but you don't feel as good about yourself. Well, it's the same thing with guys. We have the exact same thing, but it's on a different plane. We don't care about so much the looks and things like that. It's the confidence that we can create for you, that you're confident that if we break down on the road, whether we can fix the car or change the tire, we'll take care of the situation. If we got to call AAA and get a hold of them, because have you ever broken down, Joe? I know you have.
Yeah.
So I've come and picked you up.
Yeah. Hate that Beamer.
And I've broken down too. Did I call my girlfriend when I broke down for her to help me? No. But if they break down, do they call you?
We expect them to call you.
Yeah, and we kind of want that. So so there's a whole different.
Like, could you imagine they break down, they call their dad? That's like a
yeah. See right there, it is. When you said that, I felt that. I was like, oh. Well, and then think about the dad. The dad's going,
yeah, your husband's weak.
That's exactly what he's thinking. He's going, man, what a wimp.
Okay. I bet you make some great quesadillas, though.
Right. He's like, Mihal, we need to find you another man. That's it.
But think about
He's
this,
done.
Jay. You made a good point. Could you imagine if a woman puts a dress on and says, "What do you think?" And the guy says, "Well, that makes you look bloated." What do you think is going to happen to that girl's morale, her spirit, and her anger? Skyrocket. right?
Yeah.
So now,
morale's going to go down, anger's going to go up.
so now put men in that position where a man does something for you. He's limited in knowledge of it, but he tries his best. So you say like, oh my God, that's kind of ugly. Or really,
Mm-hmm.
think of what you're doing to him.
Yeah.
A man will lie to you through his teeth. So as long as he knows that he's making you feel good about yourself.
That's right.
Where
Yeah.
a woman wants to play that honest role, and you don't know this, but you are destroying that man inside. You are slowly killing him. Because there you are, the woman that he loves, that he protects, that he cares for, tearing him down.
Yeah.
And it might be well intended, but it's not
Mhm.
well received. I'm telling you that just from experience.
Right.
It's just men work that way. It's weird. We sound like a bunch of little girls, but that's how we work. That's how we operate.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we'll go through thick and thin. We'll bust our fingers, nails will pop off, and we'll break our something. But we're gonna get it done. We'll put two ladders together with some duct tape and reach something to get it done. But we'll do it because that's what you want to do.
Ocean nightmares.
Right. But we don't think of anything past that. We don't look at the risks. We look at finishing what it is that you want done, because
Mhm.
that to us increases our self-worth and our value in your eyes. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's big to a man. But when
Mhm.
you start breaking that down, when you start minimizing him, when you start not considering him, when you start treating him like he's a woman, or when you start talking down to him, that just breaks a man down little by little by little. With the top of the stuff that he's already have to deal with, he has to deal with the person that he loves not liking him. That's
Right.
just you. It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll kind of leave you with this. So, ladies, if your guy, okay, so we already have an issue when we're in the car. Hey, what do you want to eat? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't care. Wherever you want to go.
What do you want to eat?
Yeah. What do you want to eat? Okay. Once it's decided whether you pointed him in the direction or he decides, especially if he decides where you're going to eat and you go there and you don't really like the food, do not complain about it the whole time you're there.
Mm-mm.
Do not tell him at the end of the night that's the worst meal
Mm-mm.
that you've ever had, because
I should have picked.
Even though he didn't cook it, even though all that stuff, he will feel responsible for you not enjoying your time.
Absolutely.
Okay? That's how guys are. We want you to be happy all the time. Again, that happy wife, happy life kind of thing. We don't want you to be disappointed. We want peace in our life, which that translates to we want to provide you all the peace we can, because the second you're upset, it just makes us upset. The maddest I've ever seen. I've been in the public domain forever, and dealing with clients and customers and stuff like that.
Called prostitution.
The men that have come in that have been the maddest. I mean, angry about the situation. Guess what their thing behind them was? The reason they would say they were mad, because I was always really good at kind of diffusing
their wives
situations and stuff like that. You know what, man? I'm so sorry. I yelled at you. I got pissed. This and that. My wife's at home. She's been nagging me for 3 weeks about this whole thing. So, ladies, as you can see, guys will be totally fine as long as you're fine. Okay, so we're trying to help you, and we're trying to help ourselves, and obviously, there's a lot of little things we can tweak and do to do better, but we won't solve it all today. But we appreciate you stopping by, and this has been Joe and Jay, Outspoken Men's Edition, and we do this every mid-month Wednesday, and we would love for you to join us up with our next month's Wednesday edition. And then we also have our regular episodes that we run every single Tuesday. Every single Tuesday. Yep. So, all right.
We got some doozies coming up, so make sure you tune in.
Yep. It's all kinds of stuff going on in the world right now, folks. So, but hey, you guys take care of one another. Make sure, if you're seeing signs like we talked about in the very beginning of this, make sure you're aware and just give somebody a hug and see if they're okay. I mean, it goes a long ways.
It really does, guys. I remember, look for those signs, and you know what? And even if there aren't signs, Call a friend. Say, hey, how you doing today,
Yeah.
man? You good? You want to go hang out? You want to, someone you haven't talked to or you haven't seen in a while, just follow up on them. See how they're doing. It doesn't take you more than like 5 minutes to get in there and make a call and say, you doing all right? A lot of times when it's one dude to another dude and they ask, and sometimes you might just catch them in that right moment where they say, no, I need someone to talk to, and talk to them. We have no one else but each other, so make sure that we take care of each other. So we got to go out there and do better and be better for each other. And so if we leave you with anything in these podcasts, the men's edition, is that we have to look out for each other's well-being and mental health. It's a serious thing. It's an important thing, and it's been disregarded for too long. So
It has.
it really has.
Well, all right, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you next month, or we'll see you next week.
We sure will. Talk to you then.